and welcome everyone to the Tawnya Love Show. And we just are excited today because I have my first person I'm here to interview. It's Holly Marwood, and she's joining us from California. Where are you at in California, Holly?
Specifically Escondido, but a lot of people, the closest you can get is San Diego, and generally the neighborhood.
Nice. Okay, so that really beautiful part of California. So Holly's joining us today, and her business, she has a website with the akashahealingstudio.com, and she's going to be sharing some of her wisdom on how she helps clients through Akashic records, connecting with their spirit guides and their teachers through Akashic record readings. And she's welcome to share. We might ask her some questions about her channeling with the High Council of Orion as well. So welcome, Holly.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for inviting me, Tanya. We'll have fun.
Yes, yes, I'm so excited. So I was going to start. Basically, I met Holly through Facebook and saw things that she was sharing and was kind of listening in on some of her channelings that she had done with the High Council of Orion. And it was so in alignment with the same things that my spirit guides and angels have been sharing with me. And so I just felt right away like, okay, this is really synchronistic. This is a really good match here vibrationally. And so we kind of connected. And the other day before the show, I asked her if she'd want to do a reading on me just so I could have her input of that. I've done readings with clients as well and connected with their Akashic records, but I had never had anyone do that for me. So it was kind of fun. And what I loved about it was as she was sharing her messages with me from the questions I had, it was complete confirmation of what I had already been told from my guides. So it was really fun and powerful to just have that confirmation, to know that what I'm already feeling intuitively is in alignment, and then she kind of was helping me with that. So I would say this would be beneficial for people, whether if you're a teacher or a healer, or you're just a student new to this whole concept, it's beneficial. Wouldn't you say, Holly?
Yeah, I think if you're a human and even a non-human, it's
Yes.
a really good thing to do.
Absolutely. I like the human or non-human part. That's so true. So pretty much whatever galactic space you come from, this would be beneficial for you.
Well,
So,
actually, that's true. I was also thinking, because the Akashic Records, and we can talk about this later, works for your pets and your home and all kinds of things that a lot of
yes.
us aren't even aware of. So, yeah, it's my mission to kind of scream it from the rooftops or lovingly sing it from the rooftops that I think everyone should be accessing their Akashic Records because it's such an incredible place to go. Find out your soul level truth. And like in your case, what was so cool is you already are tapped into so much guidance, but when you actually open yourself up to the space of your Akashic records, where you're really opened up to your soul and you hear it yet again from that soul level place, it really resonates and helps us really be confident in what we're doing. And oftentimes people aren't as tapped in, whether it's in a particular situation because it's so emotionally charged or because they're not necessarily always as tapped in, they still can access that information of their soul level truth and really, come to a lot of understanding, healing, release, and
Yes.
excitement because we're here to embrace, a vibrant level of living while we're here, not just
Yes.
there afterwards.
Absolutely. I would say that's a huge important message for so many humans that have been kind of brainwashed, misled for a long time that we are to like suffer to be able to get through the gates of heaven when we die. And I completely agree with you. I feel like we, through our aligned living, either are living in a beautiful heaven on earth now, we create that, or we're living a hellacious experience, and that can be right now. Would you agree? Just
Yeah,
from that
and
alignment.
I think so too. And just from, I guess, the place where I sit and live, from the information I've received in the records, as well as you mentioned before, connection with the High Council of Orion and the angelic realm and others, is that it's not about escaping to get salvation or escaping to get your reward. It's about making the changes now and then being able to bring that information in so we can enjoy life more. And this isn't the goal, but we can bring more of that soul level truth and light and joy and happiness and love into this realm and embody it here and now in a greater and greater and greater level. And in the past, there were teachings that kind of kept us limited. And that was okay because it really served us at the time.
Yes.
Collectively we needed that. We
It was
wanted.
our timing. Yes, like we had to
Right.
have that pace.
So now we're in this magical time, really, where we get to find the truth for ourselves. And each one of us gets to guide it based on what our soul level truth is. So we don't have to only do what the external sources say. We have this opportunity to, like, how do I tune in and find out what about me? So we're in this time where there has been a shift, which we know. And part of that shift is being able to get our own information about our own soul level truth to guide our lives, which is what the one, there are many ways to do it, but the Akashic Records is definitely a great way to do it.
Awesome. So, can you share with people how did you come to this? Like, how did you come to what led you to say, you know what, I'm going to start doing Akashic readings for people? Like, what was that magical moment about?
It was actually kind of a process. I've been very involved in alternative healing, and I say that with the little finger quotes around it, just because it wasn't alternative for me. It was how I lived, how I raised my children was alternative, so it was our mainstream.
Hmm.
And I was a public school teacher, left that and got very involved in healing work. And so it was just sort of this gradual process. And in the course of being an associate instructor and working in the healing realm, the information about the Akashic Records kept kind of sliding by, but it literally just sort of flew by like a bird.
Yeah.
And it just didn't stick. I thought, well, that's interesting, but it just didn't stick. And then a good friend of mine said, "Oh, I'm studying the Akashic Records and I'm studying to become a teacher." And I kind of went, "Whoa, wow, what's that?" It just was like the right moment. And I think for
Yes.
me also, the way I've learned is through the pathway prayer process, which was brought through by Linda Howe. And for me, that's right now my current way of access. I think the ways I had heard about it for weren't my pathway within the Akashic Records. So
Hmm.
it was like sort of dancing around the outside until my way came in front of me. And then it was like somebody lit me on fire. I was just so excited about it. And I didn't initially start out wanting to teach it. I initially was just, let's see how this goes. And then I thought, oh, I like this. I want to be a practitioner. I want to offer this because that's what my whole life had been about, is offering healing and transformation to people in one way or another. And initially I thought, well, this is, even though I've been a teacher of all these different things, I don't know if I'll teach this. And then, a year later, I looked into it and I said, oh, wow, yes, now's the timing. And my incredible husband, Paul, said, yes, go for it. So, great support and cheerleader for me in terms of really allowing me to follow my passion. So then it became the process of becoming a teacher. And so it's just been this gradual thing. It wasn't really like a light switch off one day and on the
Yes.
next. Just
Nice. I love that you're explaining that because I feel um, myself also being a teacher in many realms, I end up in the role of teacher. I've had to explain that to students that sometimes they'll kind of look at you like you've just always known everything about what you're doing and that they would never be at that level. But I think it's important that we share that journey, that we were just curious and we wanted to understand. And so we were drawn in. And then as we understand more and we feel more capable and more, aligned with what it is we're learning about, then we feel a passion to share that with others. And then the teacher is born. So I think
right.
that's really great for you to share that, because I think sometimes, like, some of the people watching today might be sitting there kind of like, well, I don't feel like I'm here to teach anything. Like, I just kind of want to understand what's going on in my own life. And that's a great place to begin. And sometimes we maybe don't understand that process, like the butterfly transformation. Like, you're in that form of caterpillar for a while, and then you go into that cocoon, lose all sense of identity, and then one day you're taking off flying, and everyone's like, "Woo, what are they doing?" So
Right.
there is that process, and I think that's kind of fun to help people remember that so that they feel really capable and that they're exactly where they need to be right now, and it's perfect. So
Yeah,
that's really cool.
and I encourage, when I teach the Akashic records to people, I would say probably more than 50% of them are learning just for their own information, their own growth, their own curiosity. And I think that's the best place to begin,
Hmm.
because then you know the impact on your life. You understand what can happen with it, and then have the other things naturally grow out of it. And
Yeah,
some people, of course, are drawn, and they know for sure before they even get to the class that they want to offer this or add it to their practice. Maybe not necessarily go the route of a teacher, but definitely as a practitioner. But I think everything that we learn in this realm is so much more powerful when we're applying it to ourselves first, really. Then,
absolutely.
then I can speak from my own place of personal transformation and the power of it in my life versus perhaps, if I thought it was a good idea, but I don't have any experience of it. There's that juice behind what I can communicate isn't there the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to people watching if they had an interest in learning more about like actually becoming a practitioner? Where would you suggest they go to look for that?
Practitioner, well, first of all, just exploring the general information about the Akashic records and what it can do for you, and we could definitely talk about that.
Hmm.
But I teach classes. I have some coming up, and I could share. And there are many people who teach classes. You can
So
there are
you could actually teach them like how they can do this as a practitioner? That's what you
Yes,
do?
yes,
Awesome. Okay, good.
yes. and
Awesome.
and then in addition to that, you can read. There are lots of books out there on the Akashic records, and you're going to find your way.
Yep.
There are many, many different ways to access the Akashic records. There's hypnosis, there's Reiki, there's people who jump into it during dream time. There are people who just trip into it during readings. There are people who aren't even sure what they are, but then they realize years later that, oh, I've been there a lot before. And there are different pathway prayers, and the way I studied is the with Linda Howe, and she has actually a book out called How to Read the Akashic Records, and you can read that book, and she tells you all about it. Here's the prayer, here's some exercises. So she definitely gives you the how-to in the book, and where you can go into your own records, and she teaches you how to practice with other people. And so people could do that no matter what and read the book. What I found for myself, and I think the same was true with my husband Paul and many of the students I've had, is reading a book by yourself and it's all there, but you start to doubt yourself.
Yep.
Like, am I really getting this information? Or I kind of already knew that, or that seemed too easy, whatever it might be. We when we're sitting there by ourselves thinking, no, I don't think so, it's easy to set it aside. And
Yes.
many people who've taken any kind of class, that power of the time, the commitment, the group energy, and also being led by somebody, and you know this from your teaching your classes, led by somebody who's a little further down the road than you are,
Yes.
that can say, hey, know what, you're doing a great job, why don't you maybe try this, or reword that question a little bit more, or give you that encouragement, positive feedback, or that small course correction so you feel actually very positive with it, is really helpful in that immersion of the class. Because also, where in our lives do we sit all by our not all by ourselves, but for a weekend and say, okay, I'm going to do this now? Usually we just sort of drop in 20-minute increments, and you don't have that immersion with it.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you're saying that because when I did a reading with Holly, that was one of the things that, as a teacher, exactly what you're saying, I understand because as a teacher, I see the power of when I'm working with students for like 3 months, when I'm doing like a mentorship for 3 months and they're coming back again and again. I'm seeing the power of that consistency and having someone there to hold them accountable and to bring them confirmation to assist them. the transformation I observe in those cases is really swift and powerful compared to those that the way the guide said with the reading to you was like the ones that come through and it's like they're hummingbirds flying in to get a little sip of nectar. And I loved that. I was like, that is so true. And I don't think it's not a bad thing if clients come and just work with us as teachers for one session. But I do feel that the ones I've seen the greatest transformation are the ones that come and they work with me for months at a time. And it may be, once a month, or it may be they see me weekly, but those clients really start to have powerful transformation. So, like you're saying, I feel like if we value that and we set aside the time to dedicate ourselves to that learning and that soul healing and assistance, it's going to be very powerful for us in our own life. Like you were saying, for you, when you were working through that, that commitment is helping you to feel more trust in what you're doing. And when you're working with a teacher, you have someone to kind of bounce those ideas back and forth instead of with a book. The book's a great tool. I think books should be used as tools. They kind of guide the way,
Mm-hmm.
but working with spirit and working with a mentor is really powerful to help kind of channel that energy into the third dimension and really get us solidly rooted with what we're wanting to manifest. Would you agree?
No, I completely agree. And one of the things I actually love talking about, which is about the Akashic records, but also about some of the other energetic work that my husband and I do, is really the real change and transformation that we're all seeking comes when we connect with a new vibrational reality, but then be able to hang on to it.
Yes.
We've all had those experiences where we've come into a new vibrational reality through a class, through a healing session, through an inspirational tea out with our friends, whatever it might be. And we're really excited, we're charged up, and then it sort of starts to deflate over time. And so we get a taste of it, but the key is the consistency really allows us to hold that vibrational consistency to jump us to the next level, to really hang
Yes.
on to it. And that's whether it's in a class for a weekend or whether it's multiple sessions, whatever it is you get that taste, and before it wanes or sags, you get more and more. So you get enough exposure so you can hang on to that to really move you to the next level.
Guys,
Absolutely.
can I break in a second?
You can.
Tanya, please ask Ron
I,
to come in and turn on a
I
light
don't,
in the room. I
okay.
think this is why your camera is really trying hard.
Yes. Hey, Ron, if you can hear, can you come here for a second?
Okay,
This
go
is
ahead.
our total low-key show here, Holly. But yeah, I've been watching my video. Well, I was actually laughing though, because I'm just like, that's so me. Here I am. I'm 3D and solid. Oh, there I go. Spirit, she's disappearing. Oh, I'm coming back 3D. And so I was just actually kind of laughing about it. But can you kind of help me with maybe turn the light in the room on? And let's just see if we can get that stable. Mm, let's see.
That is
Is
not a
that
good.
better?
Yeah,
Oh, there.
that's good.
Now I'm getting very white. Okay, that's good for now. No, keep that light on. Yeah, thank you. Yep. Yeah, it was just like I was observing it too, fading, but I just have a sense of humor about everything. So I'm just like, oh yeah, 3D, not 3D. I speaking of this video, because this is technology and the computers and everything, I literally at times have been working with clients where I'm watching them as they're speaking to me and they will like pixelate and they'll just disappear on me and then they'll kind of come back. And so I feel like there's things that we're this just came up to bring that awareness that we're not as 3D as we may think, but we can kind of pull that stuff into this reality, like we were just talking about, but to keep in mind that we are infinite. Like our energy is not necessarily just solidly right here.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
Well, it
that was
makes
fun.
sense in
Thank
my
you,
world.
Source. What's that?
I said it makes sense in my world.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, what you were just talking about, basically the sense of how things when we're being more consistent and we're coming back around again, and that transformation is greater and swifter because of that. What sources told me is that what humans struggle with, I was just channeling this in a flyer for my workshop on Saturday, and it was that humans struggle with holding their focus long enough. Like, we are very great at manifesting. We're very powerful. We aren't really aware of that often. Like, sometimes when we've manifested sickness and chaos and problems, we don't really want to claim that as our creation, but we created it, and man, we sure are powerful. We keep bringing that around. But we can also powerfully create what we really want and what we desire. But like you were saying, Holly, if we're not holding our focus long enough and we don't keep in that vibration long enough, then we go right back to what we know. And that is typically a place of lack and fear and chaos, because that's where we've lived for so long. But if we can just keep coming back and have a teacher that kind of holds us accountable, and, oh, did you really want to talk about the lack of the universe? Because if that's what you wanted to say, that's fine. But I'm here to kind of nudge you to remember that there's infinite abundance. So would you like to rephrase what you're saying to the universe? And having a teacher that can help us. It's not that these teachers want to be mean to us, because sometimes I'll tell my students, I'm not picking on you, but I just feel like this opportunity to challenge you. Are you open? And they're like, okay, come on, Tawnya, what do you got? And it really helps us to stay in that vibration so that we can be there long enough to create shifts. And if we stay there long enough and we hold our focus, we will create miracles. Like, there's no questioning the abilities that we have to create anything. It's just most of us look at, the place we're used to, which is a land of lack, and we stay there focused too long. So it's just a shift in that. Would you agree?
I agree, and I agree, and I also would add to it that sometimes, no matter what our best intentions are, and even no matter how clearly we focus, we have things that are energetically in our way. And
Yes.
one of the things that I love about the Akashic Records is that we can uncover those things. Because I'm sorry, we've all had things that no matter how many affirmations you've said, no matter how many candles you've lit or essential oils you've put on, that thing is still bloody there and it's not going away, right?
Yes.
And that pattern, and how about that
Yes.
relationship? You broke up with that person and you did all your healing mantras and you did all of your everything, and you get into the next relationship and you go, oh my gosh, this is so different, this is great, everything I did worked, and 6 months into it you realize you jump back in the same pot of soup, right?
Yeah,
And
because you're like, wait a minute, it's inside of me. What is this?
right, and so you go, well, so when we get into, I like to make a joke about the relationships because we can all laugh about that. We always think it's brand new, and then some of the times some of those things are different, and some of the times we go, gosh darn it, this was the exact same pattern, it's just dressed a little differently, but it's the
Yes.
same thing. So when we have those things that keep coming back and we want to understand more deeply, or we can't forgive, which I'm not big on the forgiving thing, which I could go into in a minute, is that um, why not? What's up with that? And it's not that we didn't say our affirmations correctly or we didn't hold the right level of emotional reality. Sometimes we have stuff from other realities, I'll say, that could look like past lives or earlier in this life that energetically is just stuck there. And in the Akashic Records, because we go to our soul level truth, we have this opportunity to say, oh, I get it. I understand. I, I understand. The light was always there. It was a great idea when that happened and where it happened. That energy doesn't serve me anymore. And then you really release it. And so, because we
Yes.
can stop the self blame that we're not doing our metaphysical stuff the right way. Because
Yes.
sometimes, no matter what we do, it's still there. So this gives us an opportunity to really dig at those things that, maybe back in the 1600s, whatever it was a great idea, but it doesn't serve us here and now. So we go, okay, got it. It doesn't
Like,
look
why am
good
I
here.
still doing it that way?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we look at it with light and love in the space of the Akashic Records, and we go, good. And then we get to lay it back down where it was, where it was a good idea,
Yes.
and now we get to be freer. And as we're freer, then we have an easier time holding the energetic reality of where we want to go.
Yes.
because sometimes
Absolutely.
it's not about, sometimes we can be doing all the right things, but we've got a little energy that we need to work out, we need to shift, we need to understand, we need to release, or we need to connect with some lifetime where we had it all together in the area that we feel like we're lacking. Like, where's that lifetime where maybe I had the Midas touch? Or where's the lifetime where I knew exactly the right way to love somebody so I could have that unconditionally loving experience? Where was that lifetime where I got to live my passion, whatever it is? So we can also not always look at our brokenness, which we're really good at doing, but we can also
Yes.
look at the places where we got it, because we've had so many lifetimes. It's all in there, because we've been the good, the bad, the ugly, men, women, rich, poor. We've been it all. So why not draw on that as a resource in a conscious, active way to change our vibrational reality now?
Absolutely. And I feel that what you were saying, that's so in alignment. That's why I was called to do angelic auric clearing, which the Akashic records, I wasn't ever calling it that. But as I worked with you and as I've been reading more about that, I realized that's what I'm doing when I'm in healings. Like, I'm just accessing that. Like you were saying, some people just, it kind of comes in during a clearing, a healing, or in dream state or a meditation. That's exactly how I was brought this awareness. And then meeting you, I'm like, oh, so that's what they call that. Um, and what I've been told is exactly what you're saying, that in order for us to, it's kind of like there's references in the Bible, like the reference of passing through the eye of a needle is something. I recently had a dream where I was shown like a gateway, and I had all my possessions were taken in this dream, and I had no identification. Like, I was at a security gate in an airport, and it was so symbolic for me because what I saw was that for us to pass through into these new portals of energy experiences, these other realms of possibility, we have to drop all the baggage. All sense of identity has to fall away. And so as a healer, that's exactly what I help clients with, and what you're helping them with, Holly, is I feel we tune in and help them see like what's going on vibrationally that they're carrying that's
Right.
creating a heaviness that's blocking them from passing through these gateways that they want to go. And so there's this process of clearing that has to happen before we can clear that heaviness. We can't really be light enough to soar. So that's part of the process, is we have to get comfortable with looking into those energetic patterns. And most of the time they're very unconscious in us. We don't even know, like,
Right.
there's clients that have had past lives. I remember a woman, she was a slave in a past life, and she died in the fields, and we were both shown that in a clearing. And she was, her whole lifetime, and she's in her 60s, she was afraid to go outside. She felt vulnerable and she hated being outdoors, like her whole life, this lifetime. And after that session, clearing that, she contacted me a couple days later, and she's like, Tawnya, I was gardening yesterday. Like, I felt so at peace in nature. And I wanted to cry, because just to think of a person living their life in that enslavement, like, she wasn't a slave any longer, but energetically she was. Like,
Right.
energetically, she still was enslaved. And so as we cleared that, she was liberated and freed. So energetically, what I love is I feel like yourself, and I've met other healers that are doing this. We're helping people energetically drop all their baggage so that they can ascend to these higher vibrational places of existence and reality, and really start to create these beautiful realities instead of staying stuck with the heaviness of our past. And I feel humanity has so much room for evolution, but we have to acknowledge the heaviness that we carry, even the heaviness we carry as a country or as a nation. You know, we have these stories and we carry it like baggage. Would you say it would serve us to drop that, Holly, from your observations?
Yeah, and no, I completely do. And yet we do it, the way I look at it and the way I talk about it is we just do it one question at a time
Yes.
in our Akashic records. So it's always about what's up with us on our human level. And
Mm-hmm.
people, because it's a very high level spiritual resource, people want to get very lofty with their questions, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's a space that can go there. But I always encourage people, the lofty things we can only get as high as the stuff that we've cleared out, right? So
Yeah.
I like to say, so what's up with your life? What's up with your humanity that you have questions about, that you would like to have a better understanding about, release things, heal, whatever it might be. And from this place of unconditional love and non-judgment that happens in the records. And one of the beautiful things about in being in the records is we never look for a block. We never look for a block. We always look for the
Exactly.
light.
Yes,
We
I
look for the
agree.
light because in all situations, the light is there. Our judgment is it's blocked. And our human experience might be I'm blocked from getting where I need to go. But instead of looking at our brokenness, we look at how it served us, why it happened,
Yes.
when it happened, and all the right reasons for it with love and compassion and non judgment. And we dig in. Sometimes we have to roll up our sleeves a little bit more to get to that place, but we can, the light is always there. The light is always there in all experiences, in the here and now and in the past. And as we connect with the light, it straightens us up, gets us more in tune with living baggage free, if you will. But from the point of view of, wow, you're so broken. I don't know. That might take a moving van, to move all your baggage. But it's not that. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
so let's see what's up. And so instead of saying we got to move this whole moving van of baggage, it's like, what's up with you now? What's highest on your priority list right now? Okay, let's unload that baggage first. And one of the beautiful things about the Akashic records is that it is this place of our soul level truth, but what also happens is our masters, teachers, and loved ones come forward when we open up our records. So they're our team who's guiding us. So, this vast infinitude of all the experiences over all of our lifetimes is too much to digest and even sort through. Where's the piece of information I need? It's like finding the needle in the haystack, but your masters, teachers, and loved ones come forward and they say, okay, for example, in doing a reading for you, we've got Tanya's back. We're guiding her. So, with that in mind, and this is what her question is, okay, we're going to find the right information for her. And they bring it out of the Akashic records, share it with me as the reader, and I can share it with whoever my client is. But it's the right information at the right time based on what you want to know. So, you're not looking for the needle in the haystack because you'd be
Exactly.
overwhelmed and you'd
Yes.
feel like I'll never find it, or that was interesting information but that doesn't help me. So
Exactly.
it's really uniquely tailored to each one of us in the moment for who we are, to help us be more right with ourselves in the here and now.
Yes. I agree. And I think that when clients are coming to see us for these sessions, it's really what's going on with them today. Because, like, when I saw you, or I didn't see you, we talked to the phone,
Right.
but when I connected with you vibrationally, I had just left a job that I was challenged with, that if I had met with you 2 days before, my energy would have felt completely different, and I would have had completely different questions, which I did because I had written you some questions, I think,
Right.
in an email. And then 2 days pass, and I'm like, oh, I've already moved on from that, Holly. Like, we've already dropped that load, so let's focus on this question. And it really is about, like, living in the infinite now. Like, everything we need is here in the now. And I agree that focusing on the light, that is the secret of alignment and wholeness, is we're focusing on that, and we're helping others focus on that. It's helping them to really look for what they need to have everything be in alignment. It's not like looking for, like, traditional therapy, for example. If we're just like microscopically asking them these questions about their childhood, their whole life, and we're like picking out little particles and talking about it for weeks at a time, it could take forever. And all it's really doing is triggering that emotional grief within a client without any clearing, without any purpose. And so I feel what's swift about Akashic record readings and like the auric clearings, I think they're the same thing, but a little different. Like you said, you found your way and I found my way, but they're very similar of what we're doing. And it's in the now. It's really being with a client's energy now, their questions now, and setting an intention now. And that's where things are progressing from.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome awareness on that. What would you say? Like, how would you do you feel open today to kind of explain to us like how we could get in and read our Akashic records? Like, could you explain to those watching what they could do today just to start tuning into that?
Well, the what I would suggest, because it's I actually use the prayer that Linda Howe uses.
Hmm.
I did extensive training with her, and for me, at least up till now, that's the thing that I use to get into the records. And
Okay.
so she outlines it in her book. And when people have readings, um, we open the records with that prayer. If people are opening their own records, they open with that prayer. What I love about the prayer is first of all, it's a non-denominational prayer if the P word upsets anybody. And it is one that is brings us into a really safe, beautiful space that guarantees us our way into the Akashic records. It's not like I hope I get there today, or oh, I didn't gosh, yesterday I was there and I don't know about today, or just the inconsistency of it.
Yes.
When we use our current legal name and we use this prayer, we're going to go in.
Okay.
And I love that. I mean, for myself, I want to know that if I want to go in, I'm going to get there and not hope and keep, did I comb my hair the right way, or, whatever that day. And, oh, you didn't do that right, so you're not going to get in. So I love that part of it. And also, of course, professionally doing it for people, I want them to know that if I'm opening their records, we're going in, not let's
Yes.
see if it happens today. And
Yes.
so it's opening the records with this prayer and their name. And I just have a gardener outside my window right now. I might have to shut a second.
Oh, you could go and do their Akashic records reading. Say, oh, did you just get summoned in for a reading?
So sorry.
Oh, it's
Uh,
okay.
I thought that window was closed and it was open just a tiny bit. I apologize. I
No
don't even
worries.
know if the sound comes through. But anyway, that's what I suggest. And there are people who can just tune in and connect with their Akashic records. And what's really interesting is within the field of the Akasha, actually one subset of it is intuition. So when we're tapped into our intuition, we are tapped into a piece of the Akashic field. And so there are times when we can get intuitive information that actually is very similar to information in the Akasha. Although the Akasha gets it a little more specific and a little more personal, but the more time you spend in your Akashic records, it actually expands your intuition. So for me, there are times when I already know the answer even without formally opening the records. But
Yes.
when I do it for clients, I always open the records because I want to be 100% certain about, the consistency of their answers and
Yes.
them feeling as good as they can when they leave the reading.
And it was cool because when we were doing readings several times, like you would say something and then I would go to explain what I was feeling intuitively, and you're like, okay, that was confirmation because I just saw a picture of what you just said. And so
Right.
it was kind of fun. It's like this dialogue with spirit back and forth, and really it's great because you're getting that confirmation. And for me, there's times like you were saying that you'll get very practical information, sometimes very spiritual, etheric information, and that's the same for me in a reading or a clearing. That same thing happens. And with mine that day, it was like very practical answers of just like
Yes.
a business plan and like to keep going with this show and that good things were coming energetically. And it was cool because like you had said something you saw in the number 3, and I was just being told by my guides to put package deals together so that I could work with clients more consistently. Um, and it was a package of 3 for 555, and you had just saw that 3, and then it was just fun that it was going back and forth. But what's cool is that this can be very practical information that helps us, like maybe we're a healer in my case, and we're like, we know we have this important gift to share, we know that we have this show that's just come to us, and we feel a really good feeling about it, to the point where we just walked away from a job that paid us a consistent paycheck, but we felt that was out of alignment. It didn't feel loving or respectful to our soul. And we dare to go forward. And then I talked to Holly, and she tunes into my records, and she's like, oh yeah, Tawnya, you're going in the right direction. Like, this is very energetically amazing for you. And it was just good validation for my own soul to go, okay, feel it, and I'm going to trust it. I'm going to keep going forward because I know that there's important things I'm here to share with the planet. And so Holly and I had that experience, and it just helped me feel more at ease in that decision, which I think that's what most humans want. Is they want to know that they're having an intuition and a feeling, and they want some spiritual confirmation to back them up, to help them know that they're on the right path, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another one of the many things I love about the Akashic records is as you're saying, it meets us exactly where we're at. So if we need really practical information right now based on the
Yeah.
questions we're asking, we're going to get it. Not unlike you, I've done lots of other readings where literally the masters, teachers, and loved ones are saying, please take out a piece of paper and a pencil. We're giving you a list.
Yeah, here's your business plan.
Yeah, super practical, down to earth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. And then sometimes it's a realm that can also take us wherever we need to be. So it can be very lofty, esoteric information also. And I love that. And the other thing is, like for you, your reading was very confirmational because you're tuned in, tapped in, and so you already were getting a sense of it. But what's really interesting about the Akashic Records is it can be a confirmation. You can say, well, I kind of knew all that already. But what's really fascinating is even when we know it already, as you experience, when we feel it in our records and we feel the soul level truth of it, a friend of mine said it the best. He said it was like the glue that made the whole thing stick. So there's
Yeah.
something about taking it from the realm of our intuition and our energetic field or other people's advice, and
Yes.
then we feel it in and experience the energy of it in our records. And then there we go. For some reason, I'm really being drawn to say this also. Sometimes people come for readings and they say, I didn't really notice anything that happened. And I don't know if you've had this experience also.
I have.
And then when you talk to them about, so did you listen to your recording again? Did you really apply the things that you learned? We don't really need a whole lot more information most of the time. A lot of what we need is we get information, we need to apply it. So
Yes.
sometimes there's a disconnect. We go, wow, that was really cool information. I love it. And then we go on with our life as if we never received the information. So
Absolutely.
it's really important when you're connecting into your masters, teachers, and loved ones through the Akashic records is that they're giving you this loving, soul-based guidance. And so I really encourage everybody, when you have a reading, challenge yourself to apply whatever it is you've learned. They're not going to give you, if you're terrified of elephants, they're not going to tell you to go out and become an elephant trainer. They're going to give you something that you can do, that you can manage, that is realistic. It may be pushing you or stretching you, taking you in a different direction.
Challenge you.
But you can move in that direction, maybe move out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you can do it. And so like so many things, we do have to apply what we're learning because it can be very practical. It's not just waving a magic wand and now you're a different person. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but sometimes we need to make some changes and really hearing that information and saying, okay, yes, I can do this.
I completely agree with that. Actually, I did an interview with this woman, Julie. She interviewed me, actually. And one of the things that I was kind of joking with her viewers on was, like if I did a reading, an auric clearing for Julie, and she had all these very specific guidance, tools were given to her that she thought was amazing. She was like, that was really helpful. Like they just gave, her angels and guides gave her all these things to kind of get into alignment and to try. And in the show, I was joking and saying, sometimes clients, they'll be given those tools. And it's like if we have this hunger for wisdom and spiritual understanding, and we think we're going to run through the drive-through and get some spirituality to go, And then we just kind of forget about all the wisdom that was given and we go right back to that misaligned way of living. Nothing really changes. And
Right.
then we want to blame the healer and say, oh, it didn't really do anything for me. And I feel the same exact awareness is that if we take what we're given and we feel there's a sacredness to that wisdom that's been shared, and then we go and apply it, then we're going to see profound change. And the clients I've observed that really listen and they're writing notes, they're like tuning in, and I can feel them. They are ready and they want this shift. I will watch them and they do the work. They go home, they come back again and again. They don't mind me challenging them. They love that challenge. And those are the people that I see shifting and really having amazing transformation. And then there's some that I've seen that, I don't really notice much difference. Like it felt really good in the day I got the clearing, but nothing's changed for me. And then I tune in and I'm like, well, did you shift this? Did you listen to their guidance on that? Did you apply this? And they're like, oh no. Okay, well, there you go. Because really, you and I are just messengers for spirit. We're messengers with the information from their guides. It's not our responsibility to wave a magic wand for them. We assist them. And even when there's a healing in my room and I see someone heal like a knee injury like that, or a tumor's dissolved like that, I see these things. They aligned in their energy, their mind, their spirit in the now, and they were amazing healer because they truly chose to do everything and to come into that place to create that alignment. And by living with that and applying what they're being given, amazing infinite possibilities are there. But I agree with you, the ones that come in and they just think we're going to wave a wand and then they're going to go right back to how they were living and it's all just going to be amazing and magical. It's just not what I've observed. It's really, we have to each be willing to do our own work.
Yeah, and sometimes we need to be reminded, because life
Yes,
comes in and it can get busy, and when it does, that's when we tend to go back to what we already know. But
exactly.
people are pretty amazing at what they do incorporate, and there are a lot of what I would say fearless people out there these days who say, I really want to do something different. I'm really ready, tried all
Yeah.
these other things, and now I'm really ready to go to the next level. So they do really take the information in and incorporate it and do whatever they can with it, and
And that's
see the
beautiful.
results of it. I love getting
Mhm.
those emails from people who say wow and thank you, or the
Yes.
the the emotional drain or the emotional turmoil is just gone, and now I'm on a new path. I mean, it's very rewarding,
Yes.
because we are just the conduit for the information in that regard and the guidance, yet it's an honor to be part of that process.
Absolutely. I would say that's the greatest honor is when you know that what you assisted another soul with was put into practice and that shift happened for them and you see them living in such a more beautiful way that's the highest reward from this work. I
Mhm.
absolutely agree. That's awesome. Well, let's see. What else was I going to ask you on this whole thing? Because you were basically, what would you say that those watching today could do just to live with greater awareness, alignment, integrity? And what would you recommend them to do as far as learning more about the Akashic Records? Like, I know that you have some offers that you're having right now if they want to have a reading or if they want to take a class. So, anything you want to share on that?
Well, sure. I mean, I think this whole time is about, and whether it's the Akashic records or the kind of work you do, or the other aspects of the transformational work that my husband Paul and I do, this is the time of really tuning into our personal level truth. So my biggest key for myself and for anyone around is, how do you feel about it? And tuning into yourself and your own information systems and really getting aligned with your personal level truth is such a key now. And I know that it wasn't until I hit my 40s that I finally realized that I actually could have my own opinion, and I could, I mean, really,
I know. What's up with that? I had the same thing. 40. What's the number about?
yeah, I don't know. I suddenly woke up and went, wait a minute, I've spent so much of my life trying to have everyone else's opinion so that they're happy. And I
Yep.
just started waking up to, I don't even know what I think. It was shocking when I don't even really know what Holly thinks. I don't know. And so it's been this process of uncovering that and trusting it and wondering and worrying, what other people are going to think and, all that stuff. But as you come into this place of greater understanding of yourself and who you are and what you're here to offer, in whatever regard, it doesn't have to be, something that looks mega spiritual. It's about us living in our authenticity, our personal level truth. It just shines forward in every word we do, every word we say, everything we do. It just becomes so authentic, and we feel more at peace. We feel an ease that we may not have experienced before in life. So that's my big thing. And the Akashic records definitely help us tune into that in ways that we may not have been able to access before, which I love. The special offer I wanted to extend to all of your beautiful viewers is that normally an Akashic record reading is an hour for $111. But for anyone who's viewed the Tawnya Love Show, both my husband Paul and I are offering Akashic record readings still for an hour, but for $88. It's not on our website, so you'll have to contact us via our email or on our website, which is akashahealingstudio.com, or we're on Facebook as Akasha Healing Studio. Just mention that you viewed the Tawnya Love Show, and we'll extend that offer to you. Great opportunity to dig into some of your soul level truth and find out how awesome you are, or release some patterns. And coming up, we have between now and June, there are 4 Akashic Records classes coming up. In one weekend, you can learn how to read the Akashic records for yourself. You have practice with other people in the class, practice doing readings for other people, and you get introduced to the idea of doing Akashic record readings for your pets, your homes, your businesses, and even other places like maybe sacred monuments that you're really attracted to. You can open up the Akashic records of some of those public spaces. And you can do all that in a weekend. And let me just get my little paper out to remind me of what the
Okay.
so
Are those
yeah.
classes virtual classes? Or are they a class
No,
that they go to San Diego?
They're all in person, but they're not all in San Diego.
Okay.
If anyone from colder, wetter climates want to come have a little weekend in Palm Springs, the first weekend in May, we're going to do a class in Palm Springs, the 2nd through the 4th. We will do one in Escondido in the San Diego area, May 16th through 18th. And then we're going to do 2 classes in Alberta, Canada, in April and June. And the class in April is in Calgary, the weekend of the 25th through the 27th. And that class is really filling up nicely. We got lots of excited people about that there. And in Edmonton, we'll be there June 6th through 8th. So 4 different opportunities just in the next few months. And, we're happy to go wherever we can get a class together too. So we don't have to just teach here in the San Diego area. We love to travel, done Akashic records we've done it actually in Alberta. We're really connected to Alberta, but in Canada, but also we've been in Seattle and Portland, as well as down in the Southern California area. So, it's
Nice.
it's the thing I love to do the most is teach the Akashic Records classes, because I feel like, I love doing readings for people. I'm happy to do that, but I'd rather teach you to empower you to access your own records, so that you only call me for a reading when you've got that tough nut to crack, and you learn to empower yourself by accessing your own Akashic records and ask all those little questions that we have all day, every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that would be cool. I could foresee us connecting in some way with that, Holly. Like maybe in the future having something where we work out a class up here, like a joint workshop kind of thing.
That would be great.
We'll have to tune in on that one.
Yeah,
and if you guys local have interest in that, definitely write to Holly and me and let us know, because really we both have an intention to travel and to go where the need is. So if you let us know that and you gather your friends that are interested, we can create an event for you. So that helps us, right?
Yeah,
We just want to
absolutely.
go and have fun and teach and help everybody. So, and that would be awesome, Holly, if you could come up here, or maybe I'll come to San Diego. But I would love to participate in one of those at some point, or maybe co-create an event together.
Yeah, no,
So,
that sounds great. Yeah, and then there are lots of different ways what we do could be manipulated to create a really beautiful synergy
yeah,
as of the whole thing. So it's fun and it's exciting and in a sense it's different versions of all the same thing where it's just here we are to start playing in this realm and having fun as well as continuing on our spiritual journey, but we can have fun along the way and these things
yeah.
help free us up so we can.
Yes, I'm all about having fun while I'm living my path. So I think that's really aligned living. If we're living in alignment, we are enjoying our life and then we can share and teach and do all that fun stuff. But, if we're healing and helping, but we're not happy and we're not in alignment, I'd say we got to check our foundation, right? It's all about getting that foundation in alignment.
Yeah, that's
Well,
exactly what goes back to what I said earlier. Just dig into your records for yourself and start playing in that realm, and then offer it to other people. Because your greatest point of power is you being empowered and loving and connected to your soul and your spirit. And major things don't have to change. Like you don't have to go change your life or your partner or where you're living or your job. If you're just more at ease and at peace with yourself, then all those other things don't necessarily have to change. They might, but it's
they
the
may
peace
shift for
that
the better when you shift that piece inside, right?
exactly. So and to know that you can have the answers and you can have the solutions is very exciting.
Yes, it is. Well, before this show, I drew a card from my divine guidance cards for all the viewers, for each of us listening, and this is the perfect card. I feel you will love this, Holly. It's I can show you the picture. It's an infinity symbol, and it's
Oh
the number
gosh.
11, the number 11, and it is infinite possibilities. It says, your daydreams are the creation of your deepest desires and wishes. While they do hold guidance as to what you are wanting and needing on your path, they also carry a creative force for manifestation. The universe is asking you to allow yourself to dream, to allow the idea that the impossible can be possible. Your greatest wishes in life are a big key to your path, and the entire universe is now working with you to bring those dreams to fruition. The possibilities of what can be manifested are infinite. So, isn't that
Beautiful.
perfect?
That's a great card, and we
Yes.
love the infinity sign for it's actually reflected in some of the transformational work we do, and we also have something called the 111 activation. So we're just all about the ones here.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because I was reading more about that, and like, seriously, you and I should chat more on this because there's so much of like what I'm hearing from like an angelic guidance system, what you're hearing from High Council of Orion, and from your guides. It's very similar information, and in my auric clearings, I'm always being guided to draw the infinity symbol, and the 11s are in my world all the time. The 11s, and I see a lot of clients when they're having a great awakening shift, they see 1111, and it just happens. I see it all the time. But
Yeah.
this whole I just was guided on Saturday to offer a workshop to activate the Merkaba, which I was just listening and like, okay, angels, I'm not exactly sure like what's going to happen, but I'm just supposed to be present and assist with this. And it was powerful. And it's just so similar to what you guys are also doing. It's just really magical. And I can see that synergy you're talking about. I feel like we have similar dreams and goals. And I just see that we could be doing some fun magicalness together. So, well, we are. We're doing it
Yeah.
now. We
And
are
it can
doing it.
expand.
Yes, and I'm ready for it to expand. Well, all of you, our time is pretty much up today, but if you have any questions and you want to write on the live chat for a few minutes, we can look at that after the show. But otherwise, contact Holly if you would like to have, take that opportunity to have a Akashic record reading with her for that discount. And thank you so much, Holly, for offering that to our viewers. And if any of you are in need of just greater understanding in all this, talk to us, because there's many teachers and healers here, and we love nothing more than to serve and assist and help you understand and find the alignment. So, make use of us, right, Holly? Give us a call. Let us help you. And be brave and courageous to really be committed to that. Like, really start re-looking at, that need to just go through the drive-through and get a little nugget and get on your way. And maybe look at that. If that's something that you tend to do, consider possibly shifting that behavior to where you work with a mentor for a more consistent process of that. I think that's what I'm going to talk about next show, actually, is really delving into that consistency and looking at it kind of like you'd work with a personal trainer. You're gonna take time to evolve and shift and to find that alignment. And if you really value that and you invest in it yourself, you are going to succeed from that. So, kind of maybe re-looking at our spiritual alignment and our approach to learning, and not thinking that that should be something that we just take lightly while we get so caught up in this external world that we forget our soul, right? Our soul alignment is the most important thing.
It is.
Yes. So thank
Absolutely.
you so much, Holly, for
thank
taking
you. It's
time
been an absolute pleasure, as always, to chat with you and hang out with you. And thank you to all your viewers for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I wish I could see all of them too, but
yes. I know. That would be fun. Well, one day, guys, we're going to manifest that. We'll be in some big convention center, and you can all be there in the room while we connect with you and, yay, celebrate together. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and have a blessed, beautiful day. And remember, infinite possibilities are totally available for each of us. So really think about where you're putting your focus this week. Just for this week, that's your homework. Like, watch, where are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the abundance? Are you talking about it? Are you focusing on the health and the alignment? Or are you complaining, and are you upset and frustrated and looking at the lack? It's something to be mindful of, and just observe your own tendencies without judgment. Just be gentle and be aware and see what shifts. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we look forward to connecting with you next Monday at 4. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.